This is all that remains of the government's cloud storage in South Korea, all thanks to a series of incredibly stupid mistakes. Also in your hacking news roundup, teenagers Wi-Fi sniffing for Russia, cybercriminals want to give you $10, and why you should sign this petition. But first, South Korea, you've got some explaining to do. This data center used to be home to South Korea's G drive. The G here just stands for government, and before it looked like this, it was the central cloud storage system used by hundreds of thousands of government employees. But of course, the cloud is just someone else's computer, and this particular computer relied on a UPS. These things are essentially one big power bank, which keeps your PC running if the power cuts out, but of course the data center was using one that's quite a bit bigger. However, here comes the problem. They'd been using a particular set of batteries for a bit too long, to the point where they had actually expired in 2024. The supplier, LG, told the government that, guys, it's time to replace them, but the government thought, they still work. Eventually, when they did get around to replacing them about a week ago, things went wrong. A witness said sparks started flying and a fire ensued, resulting in photos of pretty concerned looking politicians standing in front of what remains of their all-important G drive. Now, usually an event like this would just be incredibly inconvenient for everyone involved in the recovery effort, but the reason these guys all look so glum is because the one backup they did have was quite literally stored in the same room as the primary servers, so it was also carbonized. And the government excuses have already started rolling in. Due to the system's large capacity, low performance storage structure, no external backups were maintained. As for that large capacity claim, the data stored in the G drive was 858 terabytes, which really isn't that much. This is what 1,000 terabytes or 1 petabyte looks like. Or if you wanted to back up all of that in the cloud, Amazon charges a couple cents per gigabyte, so you're looking at around $20,000 per month, which for a government is close to pocket change. The G drive was used by 74 government agencies, but hundreds more had to be shut down because they were being run from the same data center, which was now on fire. Even Korea's digital ID went down, with people being turned away at doctor's appointments if they didn't happen to have a physical ID. Yet another reason why digital ID is a stupid idea. Hope you're listening here. But as for the disruption, you know it's bad when the government starts extending deadlines for tax payments. But as for how they plan on recovering from this, they're scrambling for whatever files that employees just so happen to have saved locally on their computers, as well as grabbing files from email attachments, and they're even resorting to rescanning printed records. At the moment, this disaster is being blamed on negligence, with 4 people having been arrested so far, but this all sounds very familiar. A subplot within Mr. Robot was quite literally blowing up a data center by sabotaging its UPS system. In this case though, sadly nobody's debt was wiped, but interestingly, just a few days after the fire, there was yet another data center fire in Daejeon barely a mile away, with again the UPS system being blamed. Next up, police in the Netherlands have arrested 2 17-year-olds, accusing them of spying for Russia. The duo was allegedly recruited by a Russian intelligence agent in a Telegram group who gave them the mission of walking a route past the headquarters of Europol, Eurojust and the Canadian Embassy, carrying what's described as a Wi-Fi sniffer. We don't know what kind of hardware they were using. It could be a purpose-built device like a Wi-Fi coconut, or just a laptop running software like Kismet. Either way, Wi-Fi sniffing just means mapping out nearby Wi-Fi networks. It's also known as war driving, which has been around since forever. Here's a news report on it back from 2003. It's about as dangerous as taking a screenshot of your nearby Wi-Fi networks list and then just noting down your current location, but automated. It's a fun little thing to do and by no means in of itself illegal. The dad of one of the 17-year-olds spoke to a Dutch newspaper. He describes how his house was raided by police who came looking for his teenage son, who was apparently in the middle of doing his homework. And with the level of honesty and straightforwardness you would expect from a Dutchman, which comes across as more of a roast, he describes how his son doesn't go out, he has a job at a supermarket, and shows no interest in exploring the world. We raise our kids to be prepared for dangers like smoking, vaping, alcohol and drugs, but not for something like this. Who could ever anticipate it? But something just doesn't add up about this story. War driving is not a technical task that requires expertise. I mean, there are apps for this stuff. On top of that, the Russian embassy is quite literally within walking distance of the targets in question, so why wouldn't the Russians just have one of their own guys take a little detour on his morning commute? Hiring a couple 17-year-olds for this doesn't make sense. And even then, Wi-Fi network maps are public and free. Using wiggle.net, you can easily peruse the electromagnetic spectrum from the comfort of your own home, exploring the locations of Wi-Fi networks all over the world. And if you do end up going ward driving, unlike in that news report from 20 years ago, it doesn't require walking around holding a laptop connected to a makeshift antenna forged from a Pringles can. A laptop in a backpack is all that's required. It's totally incognito. IMO, it actually takes quite a bit of effort to get caught ward driving, not that the fact that doing it in of itself is illegal. So we're definitely missing something from this story because the official narrative just doesn't add up. Either way, so far only one of the 17-year-olds has been released and he's currently strapped with an ankle monitor. Next up, a ransomware gang wants to quite literally pay you $10 to help them do cybercrime. The group, Scattered Lapsus Hunters, grabbed terabytes of data from Salesforce. However, the company hasn't shown any interest in paying the ransom. So our cybercriminals have come up with a new idea. They've decided a bit of audience participation is the way to go, telling their Telegram followers, if you want to participate in our activities, it's simple. They're asking people to send emails en masse to the company's executives, with the reward of $10 in Bitcoin per email. You have the permission to endlessly harass these executives till they comply with us. This will be centralized and well operated. They posted a file with instructions. Welcome user, today you will be completing the doxation of multiple individuals. Please proceed with the instructions below. Not only do they list the personal and work emails of Salesforce execs, but also the executives of the companies that were using Salesforce, whose data is now in the hands of the group. To claim the cash, people are being asked to send proof of their emails. Exactly what proof looks like is a bit unclear. I mean, faking screenshots isn't exactly difficult. But people are apparently taking part in this. In an interview, they claim to have paid out over $1,000 at this point. But I would caution, just for the record, in case it wasn't blindingly obvious, getting involved in this is a stupid idea. It might seem harmless, sending an email to an executive and claiming your $10, but extortion is a crime and the feds would love to make an example of you. At this point, you can imagine the inboxes of those executives have been absolutely trashed and probably abandoned by now. So the group has come up with yet another offer to their followers, encouraging them to conduct OSINT on the execs, offering $100 for people who discover new email addresses. And on top of that, they're offering to pay even more than the standard $10 for emails if those emails are unique and personal, whatever that means. Next up, I know I'm super late to this topic, but a quick appeal to the Brits among us to sign the petition against digital ID. It's already passed the threshold for a debate in Parliament, but the more people register their anger the better, and if you still need convincing, this digital ID is an obvious Trojan horse. The government are telling us that we won't need to carry it around and present it to police or anything. It'll exclusively be used to prove to employers that you have the right to work, in order to cut down on illegal immigrants working, apparently. But we already have very effective ways of proving the right to work, and the avenues by which illegal immigrants do work will be totally unaffected by this. The government are clearly weaponizing the anger about illegal immigration to manufacture consent for digital ID, something they've been itching to do for decades now. And what really susses me out is the fact that this already deeply unpopular government are willing to expend what little political capital they have left for a policy which is really not very well supported. The big problem here is mission creep. The fact that they're even calling this the digital ID and not the right to work app means that they are absolutely going to be expanding what this thing is used for in the future, and where that leads, I don't know, but I'd really rather not find out. The best chance we have to stop this is before it becomes a thing, and I'll link that petition in the description. But anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Have a good one.